Welcome back to the Souls and Stardust podcast. Mio and Shannon here with a special episode. We're actually live in the same room, sitting like 6 inches apart from each other.
Mio is looking at me lovingly right at this moment as we are sitting next to each other.
Eye contact.
It's actually so awesome to sit together and record together, if not a little bit like, oh, this is kind of strange, but because we've done every single one of these from 2 time zones apart.
So it's very, very, very special. She's about to leave back to Wisconsin tomorrow. So today, well, let's record a podcast episode, but we just wanted it to be a recap of the weekend that we had while she was here, because we made it a very intentional week to do some dry runs for some events that we want to be able to host during retreats for this year and in the future. So if you follow our pages or Instagram, we kind of just extended out the events to our immediate circle, just while we kind of sorted things out and figured it out. But basically what we did was we had a weekend planned where 3-day weekend, starting with one-on-one past life regressions that Shannon did, and then we would have events in the evening time, like a larger intuitive group or development circle. And then one night we did
sound bath,
guided meditation and floating down at IMR Float. And we had Austin do the guided meditation. We had my friend Sable do the sound bath. And then Sunday, it was open for one-on-one regression. And then in the evening, we had a group past life regression. So it was really like, we don't know what we're doing, but we kind of know what we're doing. We kind of know what we want to do.
We really just were trying different things out, and we just were so chill about it. Like, hey, we're doing this on this evening. Come join us if you'd like. And I mean, it worked out just fine. It worked out the way it needed to. I think part of what we wanted to talk about is like, we had this idea of what things were going to happen, and we didn't know how they would go, but they went exactly the way that they needed to. And we'll give you guys some examples of how magical some of this shit was. Like, it was so cool how everything came together.
The synchronicities, like even leading up to picking you up at the airport, the gazillion 44s on the way to come get you. It's like I always know when we see each other, it's going to be like amplified energy. It's like putting 2 lights in the same room together, and we're just like,
we bright as fuck.
Exactly. So
yeah, we kind of busted our asses, had a little bit. You guys are asleep like the dead here. It's so amazing. And I kept telling Mio that every single day. I'm like, I get the best fucking sleep here. It's amazing. I feel so good.
I'm going to list my house on Airbnb for a place to take naps.
Just your room. Yeah.
Your
just
space.
your guest room.
Just the guest room, the boudoir room. You can do a photo shoot up there. You can go take a nap. I'll leave you a choice of blankets. You want a weighted one? You want an electric? You want a feather?
Yeah, it's so great. So we anytime that Mio and I come together, I mean, people are like, oh, how's your vacation in Vegas? I'm like, I'm not really vacationing. We're like busting our asses getting shit
Productive,
done. Yeah. But
intentional.
Time,
with a little bit of rest sprinkled.
Yes, of course. And we both love this work. So we like wake up, we have our coffee, and we're like, okay, what are we gonna tackle today? And then we go do it, and then we'll eat snacks and go for walks and do it all again.
Tackle some more.
Yeah. So it's been fun. And but we did start with the regressions. We had one-on-one regressions. So I did a couple of those, and those were really pretty awesome for both of those people. We did those.
You know what was interesting to me is that it was 2 men that came forward for the regressions that signed up. And I only say that because usually when it comes to us doing stuff or readings, it's like mostly women that either jump on lives or want readings done, or I don't know how many men clients you have for like Reiki even. So it's
like 95% females.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's really cool that this resonated with them. That was like a different type of modality for healing that was very open-minded.
Yeah. And both men were really very much interested in getting into their softer feminine energy. That was really lovely to see. So just on the precipice of ready to do some beautiful healing. So doing those regressions for them it was really awesome for me. I felt very honored to do that. And I could see visibly, like, the one person visibly, he looked different after.
Released
Yeah, he released a lot of
process.
stuff. And so that was awesome. And then our intuitive development night, which
Oh yeah. So Friday night
we totally had one plan.
yeah, I was like, okay, we're going to do intuitive painting. Like I wanted to teach people how to get to the meditative state and then to start channeling and like, then we can do cards for each other, or we can do, if we needed to do mediumship. Like it was basically like somewhat structured, but then also we're going to leave it open to see where everything takes us. And didn't touch the paint stuff, not once.
Didn't even pull it out.
I mean, it was out on the counter, like ready to go. I had all the paint, like I went to Hobby Lobby, I stocked up on everything. So maybe if I, maybe I'll make something for the people, maybe just ship it as a little.
Oh yeah,
gift
so
or
thank
something.
you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I say that I got it. I don't have time. I don't know if I have time for that, but the thought is there.
Well, when everybody showed up, so how many? There were 4 people and then
us.
and then us.
Yeah.
So 6 of us total. And the dynamic, like I never question the group composition anymore for these types of things, because I fully believe that the universe brings together the people that need to be together in any given moment. And if that wasn't clear on our Friday night, like I don't even know how much clearer it could get.
Agreed. It was definitely one of those like, oh, everybody. We had like the 2 Taurians, the 2 Libras, 3 Taurians.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're like very grounded, like being a very grounded energy, because we did process a lot of stuff.
We did.
There was a lot of energy and emotions that came out while practicing for each other, because while we're reading for one person, the stuff that's coming out is resonating for the person like across from us.
Yes, that was so nuts. I mean,
Nothing surprising.
I'm not
right.
surprised by it, but it was still like super cool to witness that. And as one woman was sharing her story about what she's moved through in the last year and how Mio has impacted her in that way, she's talking and talking and talking about all these things that she's realized, and how her departed son has been coming through to her. And then a woman across the table from her just breaks down in tears, sobbing. And of course, we are like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. You okay? All right. You good? All right.
And she just was like, I'm fine. But every single word she's saying, I know it's my brother talking through her for me. So it was in that moment, it was like, wow, Spirit put one woman in this group telling her story so that another could hear the message. From
at that point, it didn't even feel like this was our event or we were facilitating. We just like
were holding space.
Yep. This is the place to meet up, and this is where you're supposed to come get your healing.
Yep. Here,
have your
enter for your transformation and healing.
Yep. Come on in.
Yeah. And it was
leave your shoes at the door.
It was so remarkable to witness that and to see all the processing that happened for both women as a result of, like, Kaz sharing and then Daisy receiving and then just releasing.
You
and
saw
then,
it like happen in real time of like, oh, okay, there's like some shit's moving through the air right now and through their bodies. And
so that's why we didn't even touch the paints, because
it wasn't necessary at that point.
Everybody was in the element.
I was really just going to do it just to get everyone into like their meditative state and just kind of like get the flow going, but people jumped right in.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. And the one woman didn't even realize that she was channeling for the other. But their stories were so similar too, that was no accident for sure. So that was really, really cool.
That was very, very beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing we did. It's nothing that, like, nobody can take credit for that.
No, it was like a group dynamic.
It was literally just like, wow, this is really fascinating that, you could just like feel Feel it in the air tonight.
It was fun too. And I mean, one of the women that was sitting in the group, I'm sure she was pretty mind blown because when she first walked in, she's like, I'm just here to observe. And we're like, yeah, right.
All
We'll see
right.
about
Observe, or
that.
you mean spirit's gonna raid you to fill? No.
Yeah. So
Um,
she was watching all of this. And then, of course, the one gentleman that was with us too, he was just like,
he
oh my
was,
gosh.
but we all had our different decks, our Oracle tarot decks, and we were all just like, okay, let's focus on one person at a time, their
Mhm.
energy, and pull cards. And if you feel like sharing, or if you get intuitive hits, like
Mhm.
this is the place to share. This is the place to do it. If you feel like spirit is putting something on you, like a message. And the stuff that was coming out in each of our cards, all related
Oh my gosh,
to
it
that
was so cool
person.
how it built the story and added context. And just to clarify, like part of our intention for having our decks and having everybody bring their decks and wanting to practice was to help them understand that the easiest way to really tap into your intuition and start to use it and build it is a lot of times through a tool. And oracle cards or tarot cards can be an excellent tool for having a medium for message delivery and then to reflect on that. So Mio and I were really just trying to set up a space where they could feel comfortable starting to work with their cards and practicing on people in a group space and then receiving immediate feedback.
And people that they don't know.
Mhm.
That way there's no like, what's the word? Like a preconceived.
Yeah, like a preconceived notion or
Yeah, like
there's no like leading of information.
mhm.
Mhm.
And what was interesting was certain cards kept coming up over and over again for each person.
Mhm.
There was like a communication card that kept repeating.
Yeah.
There was a perseverance card that kept coming out.
Creativity, like creativity blocks that
Mhm.
came up for a couple people, and manifesting. So there was definitely themes that were applicable to the whole table. And really it was just, we just wanted to show people how easy it is to start to get into your
Yeah.
own intuition and then to be able to practice, and that it doesn't have to be. I think everybody sitting at the table was a little bit intimidated that they like you had to be special in some way in order to read cards or to read energy. And we were just trying to show them like this is so innate, like you know how to do it already. It's
Like-
just about
Like
practicing.
with Kaz, watching her, because she does nails, and so she's like, I'm like, yeah, every time you're touching somebody, you're touching their hands.
Yeah.
Of all things, like you're connecting into their energy, and you're
Mhm.
going to download and receive information, or vice versa. If you're not careful with your energy, you can be,
Mhm.
transmitting both ways. But I'm like, yeah, that's, she's Reiki certified. I'm like, yeah, girl, you're doing Reiki when you're holding people's hands and you're doing their nails and you're listening to them talk through their stuff. Like, that's very healing.
Yeah, it's super healing. She's a natural healer for sure.
And the things that you do without even thinking twice, like that's your superpower.
Yeah, it's your intuition working on behalf of you.
So that night was really, really cool.
It was super cool. And then just to see everybody kind of hesitate to share what they got, but then as soon as they could see
Mhm.
everybody encouraging them around the table, and Mio and I would kind of like pop in and be like, oh, notice this and this and
Mhm,
this. And then Moss was really great at saying, well, look at the similarities between
Look at the
these
colors, look at
cards.
the imagery, look at, like good at picking up the patterns.
Yeah, so it was like, it truly was a situation of many minds focused on the same thing can produce exponentially more information or insight. So like we
Mhm.
would refer to that as synergy in terms of like ecology, but we
Yeah,
had
same. Yeah.
synergy going. And
Yeah, we definitely had synergy going.
that was really, really cool.
And it was beautiful. And even though everybody was processing some heavy shit in their life, I
Mhm.
feel like everyone left a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of tears and there were a lot of big, huge hugs before departing. And
then, we got some positive feedback where, they're like, hey, I've done other circles like this before, and this was very gentle and very
Mhm.
easy and welcoming, and it wasn't overcomplicated, and
yeah, very simple.
it was very simple. And of course, we had like the phone out for the random image generator, and then we had the cards. And then we shared about the different clairs so that we could explain how the information can come through intuitively and how you can feel it in your body in different ways.
Yeah, or see it or sense it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just very much like, hey, here's how it comes through for me sometimes. It might come through different for you, but it's going to come through. However.
Absolutely.
So
do you want to talk about the green sticker?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Where is it?
I don't know where it went. It would just like disappeared from the table. But so that evening when one woman was sharing about her brother who had departed just recently, probably 7 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
And as she was talking, I kept getting information that I did not know what to do with. And I don't profess to be a talented medium. It's something I actually like resist because it's a very personal exchange and I don't ever want to get that message wrong. But like I was being fed.
You're so good at it.
Well, but I'm like, I apparently have to get over that.
Yeah.
But I was being like, this information was just being pushed into me and I kept seeing the color green. And then I kept seeing plants like lush garden. And I just looked at her finally. I'm like, I have to ask you this because they won't leave me alone about this information. I'm like, did your brother like to grow plants or did he have a green thumb or is that you? I just see the color green in like a lush garden or lush plants. And she just had this perplexed look on her face.
She's like,
and she's like, well, my favorite color is green. And I'm like, okay.
And we're like, okay, she works in cannabis. Okay, that's green.
And then
right, like that could work, but it's just like
it wasn't landing in a powerful way. And so of course I'm like, okay, I'm obviously getting this wrong. And this is one of the reasons why I don't share mediumship information very often unless I'm really, really sure. But I got up from the table and I had to go upstairs and grab something. And then as I was walking up the stairs, her brother came in and said, you have to tell her it's the Garden of Eden. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like actual paradise? Are you in paradise? And he's like, just tell her it's the Garden of Eden. And so I said, all right. I came back downstairs and I said, your brother is telling me that you need to know it's the Garden of Eden. It's very lush. It's beautiful. And she's like, well, maybe he's trying to tell me that it's okay, that he's safe and I don't have to be afraid of dying. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is.
But even then it still felt like it wasn't landing.
It wasn't landing. And so at the fast forward another hour, she's getting ready to leave. She's packing up her card decks. She stands up. Something falls out from between two card decks. And she picks it up off the floor and hands it to Mio. And it is this sticker that is entirely green. It's like a little robot. It's entirely green. It has pictures of plants, I think they're cannabis plants, being watered and grown, intended to.
Even on the boots.
And on the side of this robot's head is the name Eden. And she showed me,
just showed
and
it in
I
the
was
YouTube
like,
video. So
what the fuck? And we all were like, holy shit, that was oddly specific.
like we all just stood there dumbfounded, like this green robot named Eden.
It was
within its belly, it's literally got watering cannabis flowers.
like a garden.
Plants.
Like a garden.
Fucking wild. And if you notice too, like it's got these two receivers on its head and it's like receiving information.
Yeah, it's so wild. And she looked at me and she said, this deck, the deck that the sticker fell out of, this deck was given to me as a gift after her brother had passed.
And it was a James Von Prague deck, which is a famous medium.
So that for all of us,
Dude,
we were all just so dumbfounded.
Felt relief after that sticker fell out because all of us were like, okay, cool.
It was so bizarre.
Not that we were doubting you, but like,
well, I was doubting me. I'm like, this is weird. I don't know why I'm getting this information. It was very, very strongly coming in, but obviously he was trying to help me feel validated in the information that I receive. And he also wanted her to know that he was there delivering this information. So
wild.
I still am like mind blown over that. It was just really crazy. So What a fun night, you guys.
We'll have to post the sticker on our Instagram page and then just be like, all right, refer to this episode to hear the backstory about the
Yes,
sticker.
is so wild. So that was a really beautiful night. And we actually got messages from 2 of the 3. Well, on behalf of the third person, the one woman who was just here observing, and we actually got her to really open the floodgates of emotion, and she just kind of let go, released
All the
a bunch of
cards, yeah.
stuff. So everybody said, wow.
Everybody that was supposed to be here was here.
Yeah.
There was no accident. There was nobody missing. There was no one that was supposed to be there. It was like, no, this was
Yep.
very, very intentional, which is what we want for our future retreats and stuff. That's how we want the group dynamic to be, where it falls into place. Not saying everybody has to be cookie cutter the same,
Mm-mm.
same beliefs, same everything, but just a good synergy and a good like meshing together of personalities of like, the way the information comes to me is different than it comes to you, different than it came to Moss, different than it came to Daisy, like, but it was all useful, on point, and it was how that person perceived it and processed it.
Yeah, it was so cool.
So when we do these retreats moving forward, like, I can see how this can be so good for people who need that safe space to go and open up, to be able to practice these kind of things. Because your intuition basically only grows and gets better with validation.
Yeah, when you're working on it and
Yeah,
you're,
when
and
you're
you're
working.
building confidence with it. So
Yeah.
the more you trust yourself, the stronger your intuition speaks to you. And the stronger your intuition speaks to you, the more you can trust yourself. So it's that dynamic for sure. So that was, and I think you and I both agree that we want our gatherings to be very casual and very lighthearted and very candid, because that's how both of us are. I mean, we're recording this in tracksuits and hoodies right now. So.
Yeah, I checked. I have a bra on.
I do not. Oh, yeah. So that's how we are. Yeah. So that was a great night. And then we also wanted to offer opportunities. Well, because Mio has access to a float center. She works at a float center, her family's float center. And we wanted to be able to offer an immersive experience that way, where people can really be alone with themselves in sensory deprivation right after having sound bowl frequency, a bath that way, and then a meditation that was really powerful for the new moon, for intentions.
Yes. Yeah. First of all, like, so we already host, so we just hit our year anniversary of hosting these full moon floats, right? And they've been sold out every month.
That's so cool.
Which is, I feel great about that, because I'm like, I had this idea, we threw it in a place, and now other places across the country are like using the same idea and starting to do their own full moon floats.
You badass. She's a badass, you guys.
Hardly. Sometimes.
Just say thank you.
Just saying thank you. Thank you. So we, Austin wrote up a beautiful guided meditation, and he's got his golden buttery voice that can just,
it is fantastic,
speak a lullaby over you. And he could read Star Wars script over you, and you'd be like,
I mean, I love Star Wars, but yeah.
And not sleepy in a boring way, but it's just like,
he's just very relaxing.
The grounding energy speaking over you. And then Sable did her sound bowls.
That was so lovely.
And yeah, we do it for, it was like 25 minutes or so. Yeah. And then we pulled a few cards for each person and left them by their head. So when they woke up, they had a little stack of cards of their positive affirmation, their soul purpose card, and then a moonology card, since it was the new moon. And then they went off into their float session for an hour, where they, could either do their true sensory deprivation process. I don't know how you felt, but like when I did my sound bowl or sound bath before I floated, I could still feel the vibrations from the sound bath while I was floating, going through my body, like all around. And so it's different than just going in on a regular day and going to float for me. So
Yeah, the
It's very
frequencies
intentional.
when she was playing, I could feel them so strong
I
and
felt like they were by my head. Like
yeah.
just, oh.
Yeah, and they were very strong in the throat chakra and in the ears. And come to find out, she's like, "Oh yeah, I was playing a bunch of throat chakra stuff." And I was like, "Wow, I could really feel it." So
Yeah.
it was like vibrating in the throat and in the ears and in the third eye a little bit. And my float was awesome. It was super relaxing. And I even got to the point where I had to like remind myself to breathe. Like I was so had slowed down so much where my breathing was
Yeah,
very,
when you
very
get to
slow.
that meditative state, your body temperature drops, your breathing slows down, your
Mhm.
heart rate slows down.
Yeah, I was like, I was gone.
It's in like recovery mode.
Yeah, it
It's like
was
turning the computer down like on the low hum,
Mhm.
just so it can like run its updates in the background.
Yeah. And if you guys aren't familiar with floating, you can listen to our floating episode in the
I think it comes out. It'll by the time that we'll put this out first, so it'll come out after this, maybe within the next couple Mondays, I think.
yeah, it's scheduled. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome. And again, we had probably 9 people that did that.
10 total, because we have 3 tanks and we had 3 spots open, but we had a couple came in for one of the sessions.
Oh yeah.
So we had 4 people in one session.
Yeah.
So definitely if you're in Vegas or visiting, or you're out in the Henderson area, come see me. We'll get you signed up for one of the new moon or full moon floats, and that way you can experience it.
Yeah, because you guys are going to start to do new moon floats now,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So full moons are already on the schedule. New moons, I'm about to go and block out on the schedule so that
Mhm.
special events, we can block it out. We can do like little group events. And
Yeah.
I just feel like this is a good way to build community in Vegas, for just people who are just trying to find their holistic healing and their alternative therapies and
Mhm.
do
And
things different.
we were doing Reiki. You and I were doing Reiki on the people who were receiving the sound bath frequencies while they were
Mhm.
meditating. And that was really lovely
Dude, my body was
too.
buzzing. My body was buzzing.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool to see that.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And then
We did group regression.
the group regression was Sunday night,
Mhm.
and we did Dr. Brian Weiss, his regression. So did a little bit different. So normally when Shannon does the one-on-one regression, she has a whole different script because it's all the
Yep,
Dolores Cannon.
I
right?
used the quantum healing hypnosis technique, but
And it's so different because it's hours long of
It-
like
it is, and it's
spending time with
so
you.
intensive. It's a very much a back and forth, like questioning the person under hypnosis. And when you do a group regression, it's a meditation, and the discovery is very much
Internal, right?
internal, and then you can reflect upon it after you finish your meditative journey. So it's much shorter. It took us about a half an hour to do the actual meditation, and then we did. And it had a lot of healing elements to it, which I really love. I did a search for Brian Weiss. He wrote the book Many Lives, Many Masters.
Amazing. We've talked about him multiple times on our
Mhm.
show.
Yeah, and he actually travels all over now teaching how to tap into past life experiences so you can heal. And so I just did his past life. He has a past life regression that he has on YouTube. And so I used that and I wrote it all down so I could speak it out, and I changed a few things. And we had a young woman here who has a bunch of Virgo placements, and I was super nervous because people with Virgo placements can be really hard to get down into like a hypnotic state. And so I
wonder why.
yeah, they like to think and overthink and analyze. And I mean, she literally said to me, sorting through details and memorizing shit is what turns her on. And I was like, oh, fuck. But I didn't let her know that I was internally freaking out
not at
that it
all.
might not work for her. And it really, you guys, there's like 10% of the population that it can be more challenging to get into a hypnotic state, but it's not impossible. You just have to work a little harder. So I just was like, don't worry, you're going to do great. Here's what I do. Here's how I do it. And this is the process. And so I just explained like all of the all of the details of what we were going to do. And she was just eating that shit up, right? Like it's what her Virgo mind
Yeah, she
needed.
needed all the preparation, information
Yeah.
versus somebody else like a fire sign, be like, all right, let's do it.
Yep.
Just stop talking. Let's just go.
Yeah. And once we got started, sure enough, like you guys had a great trip through time and space.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I actually really enjoyed taking you guys through that. I kept thinking like, oh, I could add this to this script. I could adapt it this way and spend a little bit more time.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is like if someone either doesn't have the time or the investment to do the one-on-one regression, this is a great alternative to get a taste of what it's like.
Or even to just do a little bit of work here and there on your own. Yeah, to be able to like internally digest and understand a little bit more about yourself, come to resolution about some things. And yeah, so we finished that meditation, then you guys had an opportunity to share what you experienced at the different levels, because there was childhood memory, there was in utero, there was your birth, and then there was walking through the doorway into whatever, past life or some kind of otherworldly or other dimensional experience.
Yeah. So I saw my 7-year-old birthday party when we did the childhood memory. And then in utero, I saw myself growing from the fertilized egg all the way through till birth. And then I saw myself being birthed. And I remember the feeling of going through like the birth canal and then coming out and it being so cold and bright.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and then we went down the hallway and went to this other life. And that's when I opened the door and I felt like I was in Monsters Inc., like opening the door and seeing the different, like,
had to go get your screams.
I know, I had to go get my screams from the kids. And then I walked out into a world that was just fully desert sand. I was in exile, or I'd left a city. I didn't either. I think I willfully chose to leave. But I was away from people and I was very isolated and alone out in this desert. And then I started off as like, I was a man. So that was first and foremost. I was a man in that life. And then I watched myself like die as an old man under the sun.
Yeah, you said
I made it to old age somehow, but I was alone. And
she's like, I shriveled up under
I was shriveled up in the sun. I was like, oh,
I'm going now.
Sunbathing and goodbye.
Yeah. And then you guys had the opportunity to receive messages from, like, after you had left that body, you had the opportunity to receive messages from a divine being.
I don't recall what I received though.
You may have just been floating above that.
Yeah. I can't recollect that portion of it at all.
That's okay. You got what you needed.
Got exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
She got what she needed too.
Yeah. Super cool. The other woman that had joined us, she
got a message from one of her departed loved ones that crossed in the last year or so.
Yep. And she had a very vivid past life recollection and an understanding too of her, like what happened, some trauma that happened to her during her birth.
Getting to experience her own birth.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it was super interesting because she had the cord, the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck during birth, and she almost died.
She said she was at peace though, like, oh, it's so nice inside the womb. It's so warm and like, it's okay. I don't need to go out there.
Yeah, she had that profound feeling as a soul that like, oh, if this doesn't work out, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah, which was a wild perspective for pregnancies that don't make it.
Yeah, definitely. And so she got a lot of understanding in that one life about her relationship and why she feels so connected to her partner. And it was just,
it's like, we don't want to share too much details.
Yeah, but it was like
but
totally
it was like
a scenario that she was like, I did not expect that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Super, super cool. So yeah, that was really fun. It was really fun.
I would definitely something that we should definitely do.
Oh, as we go forward, we need that's
when we plan this
to
retreat
include
for sure. Like,
yeah,
it's just awesome. Yeah. So So
we feel like even though our weekend was really quite loosely planned but we made it that way intentionally so that we would have time between events to really think about how we wanted to do things and just test things out. It really was so casual and gives us an excellent idea of what people really thrive in and how, because really our priority here is it's not necessarily to like impart truths or teach you a way to do something. It's to actually create space for you to
do it yourself.
Yeah, learn more about yourself and to help you understand that all of this is really feasible. Finding answers for yourself is really feasible. Listening to your intuition is something you can do very easily with practice. Finding healing through past life recollection is all very easy to do. You just, need someone to help you create that space. So that was our intention. And yeah, I think we figured out what are the things that work and how we could actually do it so we can offer something, I don't know, bigger or
refined,
more
maybe,
refined,
so that we know time. Because the big thing was like, okay, how do we structure one-on-one regression time? Because you needed
they take like 5 to 6
a quiet
hours.
spot and a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so it became, okay, well, if we move forward and we do this at a retreat, we need to have that quiet spot available for you and people can do their one-on-ones. And then I have to think about what to do with people, because it's not like what we did in town where everyone lives here. So they just came over
whenever they
needed their appointment was, versus if we go off to, middle of the desert, middle of the forest or whatever, like, okay, what activities can I go ahead and do with the group?
Yep.
While you go and do this.
Yeah.
So
it was just fun, you guys.
It was fun.
Mio and I just really we love each other so much. She called me her best friend a couple of times this weekend and my heart just melted.
Aww.
I know it did. It just melted. And she's like, well, I refer to you that way all the time to my other peeps. And I'm like, yeah, but
I don't hear it.
So that was really, really sweet. And I love that. And we just have a good time together. But we just like to create opportunity. We're learning through all of this too. Like as we do all of this together, we're in it with you. We're learning, we're growing.
We don't know what the fuck we're doing in life.
I mean, we do with something.
We don't. Like,
yeah,
we're kind of just like, hey, let's try this.
Yep. Hey, let's figure it out while we go and let's share what we learn. And actually, that's part of my human design is like I learn through doing and I teach as a result of what I've learned, like through my own experience. So that's part of like how I'm created.
True.
So we are just doing this because it's fun to discover for the two of us. And it's really, really fun to watch other people
step in,
discover themselves,
like open their mouth, and the wisdom that comes out of it is like, oh, there you go. Welcome to the party.
It was so thrilling. It's so thrilling to watch people just like see their own capacity for
connect the dots on their own soul purpose on things and go, oh, dude, I get it now. I get this theme. I get this pattern. I get this shit that I dealt with. Like, okay.
Or watching them access that place where the wound is and seeing how they get to heal it, or they just get to release some stuff. Like, it's really not anything specific or special that we do other than we are here holding space. And then we have a few tips and tricks. And then it's just us helping them see how they get to work on themselves or heal or discover themselves. So that's what our priority is.
So we're excited for this year. We're really loving the episodes. We're patting ourselves on our own back at this point where we're like, hey, these last couple episodes are really good. Like because she does all the editing after we record and stuff. And so I don't listen to them until they're released.
You know what I just realized? You guys, okay. So something was just given to me as information about my own soul evolution. Secondary progressions in your astrological chart. So you're not just your natal chart, you are your secondary progression, which is basically like the evolution of yourself through the zodiac over the course of your 90 years of life or whatever. I learned that I am right now a Sag sun with a Virgo fucking moon and like
Aries
and
rising.
Aries rising. And I'm having a little bit of an identity crisis, but it totally makes sense. Like, I'm so particular about the editing for our podcast. Emil is always like, hey, I'll do it. And I'm like, I kind of really like to do that
Because
part.
we'll just throw that shit on, slap a thumbnail cover, and call it done.
You guys, I go through each episode and I edit out like a lot of and ahs, and
which we have a lot of.
we do.
We're doing better.
We are doing so much better.
Try not to fill empty space with bullshit.
But I get a little OCD about that kind of stuff. And now I fucking realize in this moment is because I have a Virgo moon right now.
And to clarify what the hell she's talking about. So astrologically, when you have your natal chart, basically the day you were born, every day after that day basically is like a year in your life, astrologically.
Up to 90.
Up to 90, just because life expectancy is about 80.
90, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
80, give or take. So what happens when you reverse back to, let's say, okay, my birthday is May 17th. So I will look at 39 days after the day I was born. And the transits, or like where the placements were of all the planets on that 39th day, is really more indicative of my evolution as of today, because
current day,
39 days after May 17th, I was a Cancer. The sun was in Cancer, moon was in Capricorn. Like
Capricorn moon. This shit is blowing my mind.
Everything was different.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that secondary chart of like, oh, you started as your natal chart, but then every day is
another
year of your life
through the zodiac.
Yeah. And so like I've looked at secondary charts, stuff like that, but hearing it broken down that way and like, oh, okay, no, I'm going to go down that rabbit hole further so I can better understand.
I'm totally going to go down that rabbit hole because it makes so much sense. There are times when I'm like reading about Libra and my other placements, and I'm like, well, I know that I have some qualities, but there's other qualities where I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about clothes or like doing my hair or makeup. I just don't, you guys. That's a very Libra aesthetic, a Libra quality. And there's some other things that I really don't identify with. And now realizing about the secondary progression, I was like, holy shit, that's really describing me in this season of my life. And so, And so then it all changes over time. So I can't remember where I am in my Virgo moon. The moon is what changes
2.5 years.
Yeah. Every 2.5 years,
So
your moon sign will change.
In real time. Yeah. In real time, the moon's going to change every
2.5
days. But when you're looking at the secondary progressions and you're saying every day
is a year
equals a year of that person's life.
So then your moon sign in a secondary progression will change every 2.5 years. So
where the sun sign is going to change every 30 years.
Yes.
Because there's 30 degrees in each sign.
Oh my God. I'm totally going to go down this rabbit hole because I feel like it's a window into helping me understand my own seasons, which have been shifting. So I am at 1st degree Sag as a sun right now. And that is bizarre to me.
But it also makes sense to me considering the stuff that you talk about spiritually, expansion. You did you got QHHT certified that helps people through other dimensions of their being.
Yeah.
That's a very Sagittarius thing.
Yeah. Yep. But my Virgo moon is making me meticulous about certain details. So I don't let Mio edit the podcasts.
That's fine. That is totally okay. I am totally fine with handing the keys over to that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll get it on YouTube for us. It's fine.
It's funny.
I'll collect all the clips for social media and like.
Yeah, she's meticulous about other things. And she even complimented me on, you're getting so much better at your social media skills. And I felt like I had won the Olympics. She said that I had got the gold medal, you guys. Oh my goodness. So that
sounds like I'm just this awful person that's like, you get a gold medal and you get a gold medal. You're a shit friend. You get, minus 10 points for being my friend.
It means that I totally respect how your mind works. I tell people this all the time. Like, I'm so grateful for you because there are things that you are super, super good at and you're always thinking about that I am not good at and I'm never thinking about. And they're crucial for how we operate.
Yeah.
And then there are things that I'm doing and you're like, thank God you're doing that.
Like writing descriptions for things. I'm like, can you please write a paragraph for
Oh my
me?
God, I have so
my
many
God,
words.
Can you
Yes,
please
I
write
can.
one paragraph, please?
I have excess words, so I'm happy to do
Yeah.
that. Oh, that was a total sidebar side note.
That's
Hopefully
okay.
you got a good laugh out of that because we certainly are laughing over some of the shit we're learning.
But I think we're gonna have our friend Seven come on the show. We're gonna do some guest featured episodes this year, which
Yeah.
we've never done.
Mhm. That's gonna be
Mostly
awesome.
it was mostly due to our scheduling and stuff because we'd be like, when the fuck are we gonna record?
Yeah, our
now-
schedules had been a little bit opposite this last 6 months. It made it a little harder, but we got it.
It's okay. But
Mhm.
now we're gonna bring in some people who specialize in things. So like Seven specializes in astrology, and she's an amazing astrologer.
She is hella smart, you guys. Whip smart and like so detail oriented.
Knows her shit.
Yeah,
Knows
super,
her
super
shit
cool.
and tries to educate the people with her Patreon, all this kind of stuff. So definitely want to have her on. We have some other past life regressionists that we want to have on.
Mhm. Austin about,
Austin
mindfulness, meditation.
mindfulness, and just to feature, especially because he's doing amazing things with his podcast. So if you guys like positive things and mental health and wellness, definitely listen to Austin's podcast, A Positive Mind with Positive Vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah. In the email, we were talking about Sable that does the sound bath. She's got a podcast called Unoya Lifestyle. Sorry,
Mhm.
spelled that wrong or said that wrong. I spell it wrong too, by the way.
It's okay.
It's a weird word.
We got you. We can tag these people in the episode notes so that they can see.
For sure.
Mhm.
So I'm just really proud of us, really proud of the community that we're building across the world at this point. We got people
we've got some people on the other side of
messaging
the
us
world
from, England and Spain. I got some clients across the pond.
Mhm.
And
Well, we're so grateful for you guys just to be with us on this journey because this is really just us trying to discover and learn and grow and then help you
live
do the
out our
same.
soul purpose. Like
Mhm.
this is part of our journey and purpose right here, what we're
Mhm.
doing. And it's so cool to be finally out of the circle of just our friends and family listening and to be like, oh my God, strangers listen to us.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Do you know this person? No, I don't know this person either. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So,
That's super exciting.
we geek out about all this stuff and the messages and the DMs and like
Mhm.
when people do orders with us, like birth chart orders or readings and
Mhm.
stuff. It's very,
It's cool.
it's cool as fuck.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
We're grateful. We love you guys. If you want to become a supporter of the show, there's ways now, like through the Anchor app and through Spotify, you can do like
you can subscribe and you can offer up
they have like different
like-
badge levels. And
Mhm.
we're still trying to figure all this out, but we know you can do it.
Mhm. Or you
Um,
could just follow us on YouTube. We would love more followers on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have a goal where we're trying to hit our first 100 subscribers on YouTube, and we're about 6 away, I think.
Yes.
We just hit our goal of
350.
350 friends on Souls and Stardust podcast Instagram. So
Yes.
we hit a milestone.
So fun.
And it's not about the numbers per se, but it's more like we just want quantifiable, like, hey, we're growing.
Mhm.
What we're doing, people are receiving us. And that
No
means
matter what, we're going to just be us and be authentic. So
totally. So excited to have you guys. So we love you.
we love you so much. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you very soon.